before we get into TT, because again we spoke about it, huge, massive cycling fan, you would actually be a professional cyclist over a professional motorcyclist. Say it. You can say it on here.
I would as well, but it's so
I don't
but it's
get
not
this.
very rare. I have a conversation with someone else.
It depends if you say professional motorcyclist here at the TT or somewhere else. So
Yeah.
I'd always choose TT, but yeah, if you
And plus, it's also the question of a successful. Do you know what I mean? That you could. There's no point being back of the field in one and winning. You know what I mean? You're going to be a doer in
cycling.
or there's a big.
no.
There's going to be people watching this going, what are they even talking about cycling for? This is
Sorry, but hey, there's 3
yeah.
highly esteemed cyclists here.
Someone's hiding under the table.
But where did the love for the cycling come from? Because, like you said earlier, smoking, drinking, partying, doing things you shouldn't be doing, to a life of
I
fitness.
mean, I used to do plenty of sports when I was like
Right.
a little kid, and I also cycled with my granddad, so was always kind of been there, you know, but just got lost myself a bit.
I actually thought he was going to say, well, you can't drive when you're drinking and smoking, so he had to get there somehow. So he went on his bicycle.
But you're a fairly decent cyclist. You put some. I follow you on Strava. You've got some decent kilometers under your belt.
No, not that many, but could be more.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, that's always the case. But you did complete a 24-hour
yeah, last
race.
year, yeah,
Why?
challenging. No, always.
TT not hard enough.
I just love a challenge, and just that one came up in Austria, and I always wanted to do it. So just to see what it feels like, if I can actually do it, you know. And yeah, it was good fun. It wasn't fun while doing it, but it was fun afterwards.
They call that type 2 fun. So it's not fun while you do it, but it's fun once you've completed it and you've.
But you learn so much about yourself while doing it, because you like constantly crying because you're happy or crying because you're fucking depressed, and just it's just an experience to have.
But is it one of those things that now you've done it, you can bring that mindset to the TT, and you can take that? You're much stronger in your mind now because you're capable of doing something like that. Although they're not relevant.
I don't know. I'm doing those kind of things too. I'm definitely not the most talented motorcycle rider, and I'm definitely not as gifted as Lee is.
Well, technically,
so,
right?
You don't need with talent.
Listen, Julian,
and
right
that's
here,
why
right,
I want to do
here.
as much things as possible to be in the best shape.
Yeah, but right here, right now, you are the best motorcyclist in this house.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Don't
say
forget
so.
that.
Yeah, I'll agree with
Well,
that.
come on, let's go. Let's go and take you out on the bike.
Yeah, but I think I'm not saying we're the same person or anything, but I think it's either in your. It's not to make yourself suffer, but I struggle with not doing things, or my brain suffers from not suffering, if that makes sense. But I need to do things. Like, even when I go and ride my bicycle, I could easily go out for 2 or 3 hours and just jaunt along, but I go and smash myself, and I don't know. Like, other cyclists I cycle with, actual cyclists, are like, why do you just constantly? And I'm like, because I enjoy that side of it. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know why, I can't explain or whatever, but because you can't ride your motorbike all the time, or you can't compete all the time, that's like the next thing to stress your brain, or to, you know, to make you feel like I'm doing something, I'm getting better, to actually feel something. I don't know if that's what you think, but that's...
For me, it's also, for some reasons, I just can't enjoy myself without suffering first. So I can't have, you know, a nice cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I need to
Unless you've earned
suffer
it.
for 2 to 3 hours first, and then sit down and have a coffee. Best thing ever. And it's kind of like the same thing here at the TT. Sometimes I'm not sure if I enjoy riding the TT course, or do I enjoy coming back in,
The feeling after.
did a personal best lap and have a coffee and just think, oh, that was amazing. While being out, I'm just thinking, I just want to get in.
Yeah, because it is hard. Like, if you're in British Championship and stuff and you're racing with guys, you can enjoy some races because there's a load of passing for the late. Well, you know what I mean? It's fun. Whereas here, you're literally that nailed in. Do you know what I mean? Unless you're like leading by 30 or 40 seconds, you think, I've just literally got to go down off the mountain and it's a nice cruise and you could weave, or what, like that's, you can maybe then, but even then you're still stressing that the bike's going to break or whatever. But it's a completely different. That's why like, when you get in, then you can go, that was good, or
Yeah.
that went well, or it felt good. You know, when you're on the bike, you don't literally get through a corner and go, oh, that felt good, because you're literally that dialed into, yeah. But it's the same for if you have a massive moment when things are going good. You can absolutely, you can have a proper big drift through something, and it'll not even bat an eyelid, because you're that fixed on the next thing, and you've got confidence. Whereas if the confidence is down, you'll have that massive.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where was your first moment at the TT? That you were like, ooh.
Must have been 2018, and I did the first 120 lap on the 600 the day before, and the next day my parents were coming over, and so I thought, gotta be
Light
quick
it up for
again.
them,
And it's funny that he's actually sitting next to me now, because if you can remember, on that I did a lap there with kind of like everything in, you know, all in, and that was the most dangerous lap I ever did around here. And then I nearly took him out at the Nook, if you can remember, like a proper show.
Just down the inside.
I was like on a 500 or a 3. I can't remember what bike I was on.
No, it was at the TT.
Oh,
I think you were in the Honda factory team.
Oh,
on the
right,
big bike.
yeah.
And it was
That'd
just
gone down well.
way too late on the brakes, and then I just had to, because you know it's quite bumpy there.
Yeah.
I had to release the brakes a bit, and then I was just kind of like passing and getting into the Nook. So
Is that where your mum and dad were watching there as well?
No.
All right, that's all right then.
And that was one of them laps where just fucking stupid, really stupid, and I still feel very sorry for all the other guys out there, because that could have been gone really wrong. And I had like a really massive moment at the 13th. Like didn't hit the apex, and just I thought in my head that's it, game over.
Really?
Yeah.
You still carried on and went flat
That's
out.
the thing what Lee was saying.
But you're in it.
You're in the zone. You just keep doing it. You're not bothered.
Did it feel unsafe though, that lap?
That was just fucking scary. Yeah.
But what was the point in that then? What were you trying to achieve?
I just thought, you know, that's kind of like the approach you have on the short circuits. So and I was still relatively new to.
You don't need to start a short circuit racing then, because he hadn't.
No, but don't know. I just wanted to get quicker.
Yeah.
So I tried to force it, which is you can't do that here.
Yeah.
And then the funny thing was, after that lap felt for me 125, and then I did just 119 something. So I was actually slower than the lap before.
Yeah. Everyone says that, don't
they? But I learned from that lap. I told myself afterwards. Mikael Dukebil came to me and shouted at me all the worst things you can imagine, because I passed him going into Handleys honestly like an idiot. And then once I came down, I realized that was way too much and way too scary, and that must not ever happen again.
You think you've benefited from that though?
Absolutely. I learned from it.
Yeah.
And
that's intelligence. That's where some people might do that and go, "Oh, I'm gonna try
again.
harder. I'm gonna."
But that's the thing. Some people aren't that lucky. So I'm just thankful that I'm still here. But I learned a lot from that one. Yeah.
But that year, 2018 and 19, you stuck to the 600s.
No, just 18, and I was also on the twin in 18, and then jumped on the superbike in 19.
Sorry, Superbike 19.
Which is also a fun story.
Well, that's what we're here for. Tell me.
Well, the very first superbike race I ever did was the Superbike TT here. Didn't do any
that is So you'd never even sat on a...
I did I think 2 or 3 track days on a big bike, on an old Yamaha R1 we bought, which was, don't know.
There can't be too many people that their first ever superbike race is the superbike race at the TT. Like
it's a good story now that you say it, but yeah.
Is it, you're still here to say it, but...
I think you can be on any bike as long as you have the respect, and that's what I had.
You're on a completely different bike, which is a beast. And I think John says it in one of the documentaries. He's like, half of the time that thing's wrestling you rather than you're wrestling that thing around. But then the track becomes a completely different beast as well, because of braking markers change, the way the bike accelerates out of corners, it all changes. So how did it feel when you were out there for the first time?
Finally, I felt safer on the big bike than on the 600.
Yeah.
And I still do to this day. I think it's just because you really have to, and I'm definitely not a quick guy on the 600 here, compared to the big bike, I'd say. But I think on the 600 you really have to squeeze everything out of it, whereas on a big bike you kind of like use the power and
Like we said this in another. I have more respect for a 130 mile an hour lap on a 600 than 135 on a
think so. Yeah.
on a big bike. Like it's that, and you were like, oh why or whatever, but you don't realize you have to risk a lot on a 600 because the big bike you do on the big bike, but the big bike you make the bike work a lot because the time is in the power, whereas the little bike you're literally scraping every inch and momentum and stuff like that.
But it's and I've only ridden 1,000cc once on a short circuit track at Portimao, and it was the first time I ever rode one. I remember going down that front straight, and I held it open for the first time, and I've never felt acceleration like it. And that's on a perfectly smooth circuit. So to do that here with that amount of acceleration, like you make it sound easy.
Oh, it's not easy. But
when you say
it's not easy, it's just what, like I say this to people all the time, it's what your
terrifying.
brain perceives as being normal. It's like repetitiveness, and you get on. It's like anything. When you first get on the bike at the start of the year to go test, and you're like, "Wow, this is so fast." 10 laps in, you're like, "Oh, come on." Do you know what I mean? You want it's because it's just beds in, and you get this. It becomes normal again, and then it's the same.
I don't know in whose head that type of acceleration is normal. When the front wheel's up in the air and you're like, yeah, this is it. This is the way it goes. That's just it.
But that was more
I'd be
down
like,
to
oh,
weight.
God.
You know, that was
Yours
the
never
part.
wheel is.
We'll get you over the front a bit more.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what.
But yeah, I think it just suits different styles as well. Do you know what I mean? If you are someone that brakes a bit earlier and uses the throttle, well then that's natural. To make a lap time, do you know what I mean? If that's the natural, because everybody rides a bike naturally different. You have to make yourself do different things because not everybody has got the exact right style.
It still baffles me that you can ride those bikes around here and wrestle them. Because again, going down that straight, I was petrified. I was like, what's this bike going to do? But you're going across St Ninian's Crossroads. Both wheels are off the ground. You're leaning over the road. You can't even see the bottom of Bray Hill because it's so steep down there.
It's good, isn't it?
I mean, it is.
Absolutely love it.
but for us to watch it it's phenomenal. You can't actually get your head around it. I don't think.
I think it's easier than what it looks like from the outside.
Again, everyone says that, but I just don't think it is. I don't think.
I think anybody could do it. Honestly, but to a certain amount of speed. But
for sure. Yeah, I could get on a bike and go down there.
If you do all the learning and do a bit of bike riding, I think you could easily do it.
Yeah, anyone can get round, but the biggest thing is
to actually
self-preservation. Whatever your brain does to make the human body want to stay alive.
Yeah,
that will be the blocker for. Bar, I don't mean that everyone would have the talent to be fit to make the bike be online and all them things, but the biggest stepping point before talent or anything is normally self-preservation. Because your brain goes, this is not. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Park it up at the bottom of Bray Hill.
That's the biggest thing to block out that it's actually quite dangerous.
Yeah. Like before, like you said, that's the biggest fight is that in your head before, anyone that says they don't think about the bad is lying. Do you know what I mean? In fact, no matter how stupid you are or arrogant you are or whatever, the realistic fact is people get killed. You know what I mean? It's a sad thing, but if you say that won't ever happen to you, well, it's not realistic. So that's probably the biggest fight before, after, around the time, but then not when you're on the bike. Do you know what I mean? It's like.
So I don't really like asking. I don't even know if you'll answer the question, and I don't like asking people that are still currently racing. But have you ever had like a conversation with your family and just?
I thought you were about to say with God there.
And do you know what I mean? Like, listen, this could go wrong, and if it does, just know that and I guess both of you, just know that I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Right,
it could be reality, so I think you have to be kind of like talking about these things.
Well, that's it. I don't know if you just block it out and it's like an unwritten thing and an unspoken thing because you know how dangerous it is. So we'll not mention it, but we know it's there.
I
But-
think that's just arrogant, or like, no, not arrogant. I don't know what the right word is. That's
Ignorant.
ignorant,
Yeah.
to not realistically think that. Do you know what I mean?
But the moment you speak it and you say it, then it kind of becomes real.
But it is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose everybody's different situations. You know, if you've got a wife, you've got kids, well then that's the conversation. If you've got parents, that's the conversation. If you don't have parents and you've got a boss, that's the
Yeah.
conversation. You know what I mean? That everybody's in that much of a different situation. You know what I mean? I think it was really just the person that's closest, or the person you actually trust to talk to it about without melting their head about the fact of what you're actually talking to. That's,
Yeah.
But you can't lie or hide about the fact. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, yeah, you can't. But I always wondered, because it's something you don't want to address, but at the same time you can't not.
That's what I always was questioning in the first years, because I still to this day struggle a lot with it. Like, keep thinking, just quit it and everything's safe. Whereas now I'm always thinking, like, even making appointments during the summer, like after TT, will I be there? Will I be there next year? Just stupid things. But then again, I just love it too much, and I couldn't live without the TT.
Well, that's it.
So-
What kind of person would it turn you into? You wouldn't
Exactly,
technically be living. You could go
exactly.
back to the old drinking.
And like,
We all experienced that during COVID.
yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it was like for you, but I hated it.
Like
Yeah.
I don't even. This makes it sound worse, but so I don't pay for my TT boats until the Northwest's over. Like, so they're booked and things are booked in the house. I'll have a deposit down and stuff like that. But I go, oh, well, I have to see if I get through the Northwest first.
Right.
I don't
And
book
then-
flights
and
before I'm actually just before the TT.
But is that a superstition, or is that?
Oh no, it's just, well, what's the point? I'd be fuming if I'd laid out a load of money, and then that could be. But yeah, and like this year now, that's happened to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's what it is, isn't it? You can't, like, it's so people like even joke at me now, like, oh yeah, it's sad what happened and everything, but you can't keep putting your hand in the fire and not expect to get burned. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. Do you know what I mean? You're either are like I said, arrogant or stupid to think otherwise. Do you know what I mean?
But there are people that put their hand in the fire and walk away without any burns.
Who's that?
You've been watching magic. Them's not real magic tricks. Whatever you've been watching.
What I mean is they retire on their own terms.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's common as well. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not saying that no one gets out. It's not. We're not at Fight Club here. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like we're making it sound worse. But I think, like, you can, by sitting here for half an hour, he's a logical you're a logical person, and that
Yeah.
I think that stands to you as, being fit to sort things out, and you have to, like, even like me being hurt and still having to be here, I could be pulling my hair out, but I'm not fit to ride, so someone else deserves to be on my bike.
Yeah.
And that's the way life is. Do you know what I mean? Sitting here with my lip hanging out, do you know what I mean, is not, it doesn't help anyone, or nothing benefits from it. Do you know what I mean? In my head, if he's riding it this year, he'll maybe make it a little bit better, and when I come back next year, I'll have a better bike to get on than, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there is a positive to.
Good point. So what's the future? Oh, we're not allowed to talk about the future now.
Are we not? No.
Do you know what have you got plans for next year, or?
I mean, obviously, I want to do the TT again, but we'll see. Still early this year, so get the Manx Grand Prix out of the way, and then hopefully be in Macau.
Yeah.
Have you been to Mackay before?
Last year, yeah.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I was-
was that good, or?
Oh yeah, and did enjoy it, but just
It's quite
struggled a
hard
bit
track
with-
to learn.
Yeah,
Also,
and,
it's very
and
technical.
We had a few issues with the bike setup, so yeah, it was good enough to. It wasn't as competitive as the years before, because all the the quick lads were staying back home.
So you had to quarantine, didn't you? For
Yeah,
10
7
days?
days.
7 days.
Oh, like he says things like all the quick lads were staying at home, but you can only race who's there to race. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but still, I'm not. I'd rather be getting 30th in a high profile race than winning
yeah.
B class race.
Yeah.
And so, of course, there were a couple of quick guys, but obviously all the really top 10 guys were missing.
That's it. You always want to
So-
pitch yourself against
Yeah.
the best,
Yeah.
even if you like.
But
you
I
said,
I just
finish
want
30th.
to want to learn from them.
Yeah.
And that's still to this day. Like going out yesterday behind Davo and Craig Neve, and I just wanna learn off of them. So
Yeah. So like let's hypothetically say we come back for the TT next year. We're on a big bike. We've done 128.6 or
6, I think.
yeah. Where do you feel like you're capable of getting in terms of that lap time and then positions?
Like at the end of TT24, if someone said, Julian Trummer, you've done 100 and what mile an hour would you?
To be honest, I think I could have done 130 already this year, but we really struggled with the new Fireblade this year and didn't do any testing before the TT really, because our engine blew up at the Northwest on a first or second day, and basically the TT was where we rode the bike for the first time, and then for some reason in the senior TT it was quite windy, and I really struggled with them conditions. Don't know if it was same for anybody else, but I really struggled, and so did 128 on the last lap, but I felt like in better conditions I think it could have been already 130, and that's the reason why I see myself. It came so easy to me, like I wasn't forcing it or trying it, and I still feel like I'm still doing quite big jumps in progression.
Yeah.
And so might sound stupid, but I think I could do 132s next year.
Yeah.
That was the realistic thing that was in my head. Is like a jump from, if you're already doing 130, then you have to aim for another 2 mile an hour, and if the weather's good and it's a good week, then
but that's the thing about the TT, you can't plan things around here.
Yeah.
Because
if
you come here with a plan,
you get punched in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And so
but seeing bikes,
that'd be my goal, but if it's not happening next year, then it'll happen in 2 years. So
seeing bikes, you would like to come back on the Honda.
Yeah, hopefully on a.
Yeah,
I'd love to be on a Honda again. Yeah, it's a really good bike. And
suits the way you ride.
I'm getting there now. Yeah, I'm still need a bit more bike time on it, but I'm definitely getting there. So we'll see.
We will see.
He's not going to give anything away, is he?
He's not, is he? Right, let's finish off with Steve Plater's quick fire questions. You ready? One or the other.
Mm-hmm.
No explanation. Dunlop or McGuinness?
Dunlop.
Ginger Hall to Ramsey or Ramsey to Cronknamona?
Ginger Hall to Ramsey.
Ginger Hall to Ramsey. Not many people say that.
Big lad, isn't he?
I like the bumpy stuff.
You like to wrestle.
Yeah.
Lager or beer?
Both.
Outright lap record or senior TT win?
Senior TT win.
Lee Johnston or Steve Plater?
Gotta say Lee Johnston now. no, Lee Johnston, definitely. Yeah.
Wheelies or stoppers?
Can't both. Can't do both of them.
You can't.
Which would you like to do?
Yeah, if you could pick one.
I think gotta go for the stoppy nowadays. Yeah.
Nice. Super sport or super stock?
As super stock 1000 or super stock 600?
super stock.
Then super stock.
Yeah. This is going to mean nothing to the motorcyclists out there. Zwift or real life racing or real life cycling?
It's a tough one.
It really is.
No, you obviously don't have English weather.
Yeah.
You just pick riding your bicycle.
Yeah.
I'd say Swift.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
This man likes peeing.
It does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Pineapple or never pineapple on
Never
pizza?
pineapple.
Yes.
Oh, we were getting along so well. Julian, it's an absolute pleasure to have you in the podcast.
Yeah, thanks
and
very much.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you in TT 2024.
Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Oh, he's some boy, isn't he? I've got a lot of time for Julian Trummer. I
Yeah.
like him.
I can't say I spoke to him a lot before. I obviously knew who he was and what his sort of deal was, but he's gone up as a person, and of his you can feel the intensity of him, of what his intentions are, what he's going to do, and how he's going to do it. He's got sort of a almost Germanish plan, but he's not quite.
Or some might call it an Austrian plan.
Yeah, that sounds a bit more sophisticated.
And he is from Austria.
Well, that would work.
But do you know what? You have conversations with people, and I'm not disregarding other people's opinions of themselves and what they want to achieve. But when he says what he wants to do, i.e. 132, and potentially move into the top 10, you could believe someone like that has got the skill, the talent, and the mindset to go and do it.
It seems he gives off the aura that he's quite calculated, so he's not like pulling this out of a. He'll have looked at his sectors. He knows what he's done. He knows what the wind was. What
Yeah.
I that's what I get off him as a person or a fellow racer. That's the where some people are just a bit gung ho, but he's not that. He's not got that sort of attitude.
Yeah, like you said, if it takes him another 2 years to get to it,
Yeah,
whichever way he does it, he's going to get there.
yeah. Like if you said you were going to do 132, I
Easy.
would be like,
Not in this
I've
lifetime,
seen that.
sunshine.
Yeah, I've seen that on a back of a envelope.
No, not even on the game, you're going to get 132.
That's harder, to be fair. I couldn't do that on a game.
Oh, I could. Right, then that has been the Julian Trummer episode of the TT podcast. And coming up next week is the big cheese, the one I've been waiting for. Let's see if I still got a job after this. PP, the big cheese, Paul Phillips. Here's a clip.
My first memory of the TT, so I grew up on the circuit. So my mum and dad's house is on Sulby Straight, or was on Sulby Straight, right at the fastest part of the circuit. So my bedroom overlooked, like it was from here to the kitchen there of the TT circuit.
Which is about, what 6
Yeah.
foot, something like that? Yeah.
And, growing up, it was bigger than Christmas.
So the first place you can watch that is right here on TT Plus. If you're watching this on YouTube, however, leave us a comment down below. How well is Lee Johnston doing on these podcasts? I'd like to read them, and I'd like to read them out in front of his face.
But beware, Chris does actually still have feelings, so don't say I'm better
Don't say
than him
anything.
as well.
Yeah, don't say anything mean to me. But until then, thanks, Lee.
Pleasure was all yours.
Mm-hmm.